All right, welcome back to the Sooner Surge, and it's the day after OU beats Texas 34-30. Uh, Once again, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click the red button there right in the middle. Turn on the notifications so you can be notified for all the video content we'll be releasing. We want to just do a video today, injury report update, just on yesterday, guys. I mean, Brody, they got beat up pretty good yesterday, especially second half of that game. And we're just going to kind of talk about the guys that got banged up and kind of what we're thinking on them. The great news for OU fans and for the Team 129 is it's a bye week. And you talk about the schedule setting up perfectly. It could not come at a better time for the Sooners.
It really couldn't. I mean, just a list of guys who got hurt yesterday. Obviously, Andrell Anthony, McCade Matoyer, Kenai Walker was out, so he was down. Gentry Williams was down, and both those guys being out led to Key Lawrence having to take some cornerback reps there late in the game. And then you had, obviously, I mentioned those guys, and Marcus Major. Supposedly, he got hurt, according to the ESPN broadcast. They said that he was out of the game, and that's why there was so much Tawee Walker. But yeah, those are just. I'm sure there was more guys who actually
Bowman
Billy
got banged
Bowman
up,
got banged up.
but he kind of I think he might. I'm trying to remember. I think he might have even came back in at the end.
Yeah, he came back in at the end.
Yeah. So, but
So,
hey, when you play a physical game like that, that's what happens. And
yeah, it's part of the game.
I mean, there were injuries on both sides. Texas had their center go down early, and then Sanders didn't really do much second half. I think he pretty much was done after the first half. Really,
He was not even. He did not look like
he did not. I mean, you put him down in the dirt a couple times. I mean, Bowman really lit him up on that pick.
Downs
Destroyed him one time. So yeah. So let's just start. Let's start with Gentry Williams. Obviously, he was in the post game. Just kind of, I think I read or saw that he was doing IVs on the sideline there at the second half. So probably a dehydration issue or something like that. I think he's totally fine.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if Gentry Williams isn't starting at corner against UCF. I mean, if he isn't, that just have to be a situation where he gets injured in practice or something.
Yeah, I think he's good to go. I mean, I just from just him being on the. I mean, nobody even asked a question on the post game about it that I saw. So I think he's good. He was celebrating with the team and everything. So I don't think anything to worry about there. There's some other minor ones that we talked about that are probably going to be okay. I would think. Obviously, Bowman came back in. You got. I would think Major probably isn't anything crazy.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned Kenai Walker, Brody. I think give Kenai another 2 weeks. I think he'll probably be back because I think he's been close.
Yeah, I heard it was a concussion. I think that's what it is. Like based off what's been said on Twitter, it looked like it was a concussion. So that you would hope that the bye week will give him time to be healthy because they have Makari Vickers. Josiah Wagner's been banged up.
Yeah.
We really haven't seen him 100% all year. You have Makari Vickers, but I don't think that's a situation where you want to throw him into the fire late into that game. I'm trying to see if he even played any snaps. Let me check the snap counts.
Well, and you also had R. Mason Thomas, who's kind of coming back from injury. He's starting to get more and more involved.
Yeah, he got R. Mason Thomas got 10 snaps.
Yeah, he's going to get more and more involved, I think. So that's good news for Sooner fans.
Makari Vickers didn't play, so they were sticking to Gentry and Woody, and then they went with Key once he went down. But yeah, you'd like to get fully healthy back there at corner.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about it. The two, I would say, major concerns leaving this game because they got banged up, they had some injuries, but the two guys that really could really affect this team, I think, going forward are McCade Matoyer and Andrell Anthony. Those are two of the more just watching the injuries. I thought McCade might be out for the year. Hearing some things, maybe, I did hear after the game the X-rays were negative.
They said that on the post game.
Said that on the post game. So if it's negative, that means it's probably a sprain.
Ankle sprain, more than likely. So
Yeah, and
I'd imagine Matoyer will miss a few games.
oh, I would too. I would too. But I don't think it's a thing that he will be done for the year. I don't think. Now, who knows? I'm sure we'll have more updates as the team puts them out. But just with the X-rays coming back negative and everything, I think that's a really positive sign.
Yeah, obviously, we don't know for sure, but knowing that the X-rays are back negative, you got to speculate, that he'll be back if pretty maybe a few weeks, maybe a few games more than likely, and then you'll have him back. And that's a big one because, I mean, the O-line, I think we've talked about this. Caden Green, he's your left guard. You'd like to have McCade Matoyer back because he's been putting together a really solid season this year.
Yeah, if he doesn't, I mean, if he misses 3 or 4 weeks or the year, what did they do there, Brody? You got Green on the left side. Is it Caleb Schaefer's spot? I mean,
You're gonna have a battle, and I'll give you 4 names: Savion Byrd, Troy Everett, Caleb Schaefer, and Jake Taylor. Those are gonna be 4 guys that are really gonna work for that right guard position, and that's another positive you have about having the bye week. Not only do guys get a chance to get back healthy, but if you have a situation where McCade Matoyer's out, you're going to have, an extra week to figure out who you want to be that guy at right guard. Maybe it's Savion Byrd. Maybe it's, Caleb Schaefer. Who knows? Maybe it's Troy Everett. So that's another positive I see about having a bye week. They got extra time. Bill Beadle has extra time to figure that out.
yeah. And then that leaves us with Andrel Anthony, who the injury was watching it on TV. It didn't look good. Now, have not heard anything about this injury. I have not heard post game. Have not heard anybody saying anything about it. I'm interested to see kind of what exactly it was. I don't remember on the broadcast, Holly Rowe or anybody even updating what it could have been because it was weird because it was he didn't have the ball. It wasn't an injury like that. So, I hope it's not ACL or something like that.
Yeah, you hope it's not ACL. The Oklahoma breakdown, they brought up a really good point on this injury. It looks identical to the Justin Harrington injury against SMU. If you put those two injuries side by side, I mean, both of them were blocking. It looks identical to that. It has the plant and twist. So you hope it's not ACL. I do know that Andrel Anthony was celebrating with the team after the game. There's a picture of him out there after the game. So you would, that's somewhat of a good sign. Then again, you can walk on an ACL just fine. I mean, obviously, we don't even know that it's a knee injury. It could be an ankle injury. We no clue on that right now.
Yeah, and I mean, Justin Harrington played in the second half after tearing it. So
yeah,
it's going to be interesting, and it's the bye week comes at a great time, but it's kind of a shame you won't have the press conferences this week. So you're really going to be they're probably going to be pretty hush hush a little bit on the injuries, I would think, until they got definite answers. So I think maybe midweek, maybe we'll know something. What do you think, Brody?
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see when we hear about this.
What do they do there at receiver? He's kind of been there. I would say
deep threat.
I mean, he's their deep threat, consistent. So
obviously, you really, really hope that that's an injury that he can come back.
Yeah.
But worst case scenario, and obviously we're not saying this or we don't know that this is the case, but if he's not able to come back, then you're going to give more reps to Nick Anderson. You're going to give more reps to Jaden Gibson. And it's going to be time to fire up Jaquez Petaway and even Brendan Thompson. So the positive, if he does go down, is there's a lot of young guys that are there to come back and, take those snaps. But obviously, he's been, you hate it for him if it's a season ending injury, which we don't know that that's the case, but he's been having an exceptional year so far. You really want to get him back because he's someone who he's been the field stretcher. He's been a great deep threat so far. And he's really good at like the bubble screens, those types of plays as well. Andrel Anthony has put together the best season of his career, and he's made himself some money this season. You really hope that, that the MRIs come back negative.
Well, you do, and he made a great catch yesterday with this toe tap. That was an amazing catch on the sideline.
Mhm.
And I mean, what year? I'm trying to think of his years. He had
He's a junior.
junior, so he's still got some time. But yeah, hopefully it's positive news the rest of the week coming out of this game when you get all the X-rays and everything. But overall, you know, they had a lot of bang ups, but let's hope that they can get out of this not too bad, and we'll see. I think
Yeah,
Angelo Anthony's the one to really keep an eye on.
yeah, and this is another spot where having competitive depth comes in handy.
Yeah,
Uh, they've got they've got guys. They've got 2 weeks to, or not 2 weeks. Well, I guess yeah, they got a lot of time to kind of figure out. One, figure out what the status is with these guys who are banged up, and two, figure out who has to step up if there's any long-term injuries that come from yesterday's game. So it'll be interesting, certainly, to see what it looks like against UCF, where like who's still out. They can probably afford to hold some guys out that maybe could play, but
I don't I don't know. I don't think. I think they're going to have that 1-0 mindset. You can't overlook anybody. Just
I'm not, yeah, I know, but I'm not saying any of that's on opponents. I'm saying if you have a situation where a player is not 100%, but they could play. I mean, Texas
yeah.
played with Tavian Sanders yesterday. He was not 100%. I think with your depth you have at Oklahoma, you can make it a few games when you can, hope that these guys can get back to 100% quicker. And yeah, it'll be very interesting.
Oh, and I see what you're saying with that, and how crazy is it that we're talking about McCade because he has made so much improvement. We're talking about
Oh
how
yeah.
big loss it could be. He's made so much improvement this year; it's unreal. And then you got a guy like Andrew Anthony that before the season, who knew how valuable he was going to be to this team? I mean, it's crazy. Just so he showed you, from year to year, guys improve and they get guys out of the portal that just continue to be really good players. So, hey, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. We're going to have some more video content coming for you later today. But that's just kind of an injury update from what we know. Obviously, as we get more news and find out more, we will report it. But let's be hoping for positive vibes for these guys. And, man, it still feels good for that victory yesterday. Still reliving it, still watching it, watched it a couple times now. Probably going to watch it again tonight. It's a great victory. We're going to have an update later today about the polls and where OU is in that as well. So thanks for watching, guys. As always, Boomer.